All right, we're going. We're going. I'm Pigpen.
Thank you very much. And I'm Dookie.
That's Dookie. um. Oh yeah, comments about buildings have eyes. But first, if you missed the notice that was put on the Face the Music and Electric Light Orchestra Song by Song podcast Facebook page, or my page, or the Jeff Lynne Blue World page, our podcast has hit 100,000 listens. So
that was that was the worst cowbell I have ever heard. Let's try that again. 100,000 listens. Okay, now it's silent cowbell.
yeah. Oh, my slide whistle. I don't know where that is. My train whistle. I still don't know where that is. This is when all the sound effects would have came in good. The celebratory sound effects. Anything else?
Um, I could do a fanfare from my special trumpet.
Is is that something that's going to get us kicked off of? Put me in Facebook jail?
Probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Save the gender reveal for Pornhub.
That's not what I was. That's not what I was referring to.
Okay.
I was referring to my trumpet. Where the trumps come from.
I'd rather not. Yeah, no, I'd rather not refer to
Okay.
them. Yeah, I just pretend that doesn't exist. And buildings have eyes. Comments. Steve Moynihan. A really decent B-side of Secret Messages. Bought it as a picture disc, and there was a competition on it. Apparently, some of the images on the picture disc were clues to a line from a Secret Messages track. I never did discover which line track it was. I recall one of the clues was "We Shout Raving Notes." Anyway, Buildings Have Eyes is an enjoyable track with some good strings, and it brings back good memories of 1983. That's good. I have a lot of good memories of 83 too. As for the contest, by the way, lucky pup that you got the picture disc. As for the contest, you can hear all the details about that on our Secret Messages episode, because we talk about the contest, give you all the clues and the answers to them, and who won and what happened when that person won and what that person did with their. I think they won a gold copy of the album. So go check it out.
I thought they won a year's supply of rice-a-roni, the San Francisco treat.
You know, that could have been second place. I don't remember what the second place award was. Okay.
Mike Hudson says, this is one E.L.O. song that I'm always on the fence with. I like it, but I'm never really happy with it either. Kind of like you guys often say, I never find myself thinking, sweet Jesus, I have to hear Buildings Have Eyes. The only single from Secret Messages I ever bought was Rock and Roll is King. In fact, I don't even remember seeing any of the other songs on single during that time. But it was probably because I'd already gotten the album by the time subsequent singles were released. So I may have never even noticed them. I certainly didn't hear any songs besides Rock and Roll is King on the radio. So I probably assumed it was the only single from the record. That being said, I never knew of this song's existence until I saw the Afterglow box set some years later. I put the box set on my Christmas list, and my first wife got it for me that year. The song has a nice tune, it's upbeat and fun, but the lyrics are pretty silly for the most part. I'm still not sure about what the song I'm still not sure what the song is about. I've always guessed he was talking about people watching other people out their windows. The cover of the album has the four members of E.L.O. looking out some windows. I, for one, would not replace anything on the original single record version of Secret Messages with Buildings Have Eyes. It's too long of a song to replace Letter from Spain. It would have caused that side of the album to run over and the accepted time limit. I don't think it's better than anything else that was on the LP version. It's an okay song. I generally don't skip it if I'm listening to the recently released double LP version. But like I said, I almost never find myself thinking I specifically want to hear this track. From what I've read, this is one of the 6 songs on the double version of the album that features real strings. It sounds like real strings beginning to end in the places where strings are in the song. Therefore, I assume they are actually that. They're exactly that. I do agree that this song sounds a lot like what would follow on Balance of Power. In fact, I've often wondered why Jeff chose to only use Endless Lies in an altered version on Balance of Power, and didn't use some of the other deleted double album songs on Balance of Power as well. It would have saved him a lot of time and trouble, and possibly gotten him out of his record deal quicker. Maybe that the record company had some kind of stipulation that he has to write new material for each subsequent album. But then that doesn't explain the reuse of Endless Lies.
I remember seeing all the singles in the record store, but I didn't buy them because I had the album, and I figured, well, why do I have to buy them if I already had the album? And then as I got more into collecting E.L.O., then it was, oh, I got to buy all the singles. I wish I had bought those singles when I saw them. Rock and Roll is King, Four Little Diamonds, and Stranger. I mean, I did buy them later. Except for Stranger. I don't know if I have Stranger. For some reason, I wish I did have Stranger, if I don't have Stranger, even though I wasn't crazy about the song. I think it's more for a personal collectible reason. I know it's not really probably worth about $2. Probably because it was just the last single and it was such a low hit that, well, I don't know, what I got 105 or something like that. I don't know. For some weird reason, I wish I had Stranger, the single. And if I do, oh, I'm glad I have the Stranger single. My records are in boxes and I haven't seen them in a while. Hopefully get a house soon and I can take everything out of boxes.
I also like how he did that with getting the album. We're getting Afterglow.
Oh,
Oh,
having
thanks, honey. I'm going out for cigarettes.
yeah. You've served your purpose. Now I'm done with you. I'm going to find another wife who'll buy me more E.L.O.
Exactly.
Yeah. When I heard Buildings Have Eyes, which was on the Afterglow box set, I immediately thought of that corner of the Secret Messages cover where the 4 band members are looking out the window of a building. It almost makes me think, is that a secret message related to Secret Messages on the Secret Messages album? But I am sure that this song was recorded long before the cover was ever made, because there were 2 different versions, 2 different covers for Secret Messages. I mean, originally it was supposed to be 2 guys in suits shaking hands, exchanging secret messages in their coat pocket. And then it went for the art kind of mashup.
And I'm just picturing reaching into each other's pockets. Yeah,
It's
that could be art mashup too. I think that's probably a better idea.
Well, that's why I said coat pocket and not pants pockets.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sounds like real strings. It doesn't to me. It still sounds, I mean, this is why I think it sounds so Balance of Power-y. It sounds like hardcore, straight up synthesized, if you push the button on the Casio keyboard that says strings, and that's the sound that comes out if you overdub a few of them. I mean, it could be real strings. I don't know. I wasn't there. Jeff Lynne, let us know. Leave the lawyers at home. Were there real strings on, what song are we talking about? Buildings Have Eyes. Was there real strings? Was there real strings on Building His Eyes? Or is it synthesizer? Whatever. Moving on. Tracy Anthony. I've always really, really, really liked this song. If there were ever an album exclusively devoted to lost B-side material, Buildings Have Eyes would most definitely find a home there. With its catchy hook the kind of lightweight, disposable, yet still pleasant pop music indulgence that sticks in one's head after listening to it. Well, Tracer, it's the future. We have Spotify. You can make your own lost B-side album. You can't have Drum Dreams on it, though, or the E.L.O. Megamix. But I think all the other stuff would still be on Spotify to make your own E.L.O. B-side lost material album B-side. Yeah, I think I got the words in there. You put them together, it's like a jumble.
G. Brewer says, I have always loved Buildings Have Eyes since hearing it on the 1990s box set. I love the quirky intro into the sweeping synthesizer with a touch of rockabilly guitar flourish. It's a fun song that knows it is not so serious.
Well, with how it sounds, can it really be so serious?
Yeah. No, it's just kind of silly.
Okay, for that one. Sorry, it's one too many clack. Leave the sound effects alone. Mark Jealous. Jeff's in a jaunty McCartney mode here. Not one I'd program the player for as the first listen, but not a skipper either.
I agree with you, little buddy.
I knew there was a Gilligan joke in there somewhere. I was going to leave it to you to find it.
Trevor Raggett says, I really like this tune, and like he said, it could or maybe should have bumped any number of other tunes off the single album track list. Despite the electro bleeps and bloops, the song has a real 60s pop feeling to it. It's nice to hear Jeff referencing 60s music without just defaulting go ripping off Beatles arrangements, but I guess that we'll get to that when you eventually cover I Am the Walrus. Sorry, I mean, hello, my old friend. The intro strings have a nice feel of John Barry's early Bond themes, like You Only Live Twice or From Russia with Love. There's a touch of Bacharach and David in the verse and the Roy Orbison style guitar riffs too. And I reckon you're being way too picky on the outro. I like the fact that it brings back the John Barry intro strings. And the lyrics are a perfect valid songwriting trick. It's not like they are just random words. There is no dilly dilly. You're thinking of Lavender by Marillion, which has dillies aplenty. The outro words just reference the scene setting lyrics from the first lines of each verse in the song, which nicely ties the song together at the end. Pretty pretty are the girls as they go by. Chilly chilly is the air under moonlit sky. Silly silly are the thoughts that fill your head. Money, money, gotta get some money. And see, I'm making my point here. And run. Funny, funny how the world goes round and round. I know there's no dilly dilly in this. It's just even reading this, just talking those things. I know it's a callback to the beginning, but it's just bad. It's just done bad. Whereas Lavender by Marillion, Lavender's blue, dilly dilly, lavender's green. It's about childhood. It's a song about childhood and first love and everything else. It's not supposed to be a mega serious song. And it's a very, very simple song too. And it's more of a bridge between other parts of the Misplaced Childhood album. Even though I know it was released as a single in a different mix, but it serves its purpose, and it doesn't go on at the end with those types of silly vocals as this has on here. And he's not dead because I'm sure he has never listened to Marillion.
Maybe I haven't. I should have checked this out before we did this today, but I completely forgot. Yeah, I know there's no dilly dilly. We just kind of put it in there to be silly. That's for that.
That one worked. That worked.
Yeah, I can control the whatever this is, flexitone, whatever, better than I can control the ding of the cowbell. Anyway. So is he right about the John Barry stuff? You know way more about Bond movies than I do.
I wouldn't say that it approaches the strings that Barry uses. Barry uses these very what I'm thinking of is a part out of Goldfinger where it's at where they're coming into where it's actually a plane landing, and he uses these very swelling strings to present the entire scene.
Mm.
This strings are a lot more subtle in this than a lot of John Barry's stuff. Because Barry, I mean, in fact, I was watching The Black Hole last night, and John Barry does the music for that, which is one of the few good things about that movie. And um, and that's actually a better representation than Bond, because a lot of the main theme for Bond, even though Barry did it, it was written by a guy named Monty Norman, who came up with that whole guitar riff and everything.
Mhm.
But and a lot of the other original Bond music was between him and Barry. But Black Hole is really good example, if you remember the Black Hole's theme music, of Barry's strings, which I think they got him because they were trying to compete with John Williams on Star Wars, but they both have completely different styles. They may do orchestral soundtrack work, but there's not any there's not any comparison between styles. They both have their own thing, so I don't say one's better than the other. But it's not subtle. Let's just put it that way. It's not subtle. Buildings
Right.
have eyes. Strings are a lot more subtle.
Mm. Yeah.
Now you're talking about guitar work. Maybe. I think there is a little bit of a reference in Peter Gunn in this, which would be actually Henry Mancini.
Mhm.
But if you're saying buildings have eyes and you're trying to go with the kind of spy theme, that's excusable. Because I've heard songs that completely just use Peter Gunn and put lyrics over it.
Yeah.
And I hope that the state of Mancini's estate or kids are getting some money off of that whenever
Mhm.
anybody does that.
Yeah. Black Hole. Wow, I haven't seen that since 1980. Not in full, anyway. I caught a bit of it on TV. I don't know. I was still living with my parents at the time, I think, and I remember thinking to myself, "Wow, this came out the same time as The Empire Strikes Back." Well, maybe a year before.
The year before.
Yeah, a year before, and it's like, wow. I mean, the special effects were you put them up against The Empire Strikes Back, and you can't believe this came out came out in the Star Wars era. It looks like 1960s
Well,
special effects.
a lot of the special effects in the black hole actually hold up for the most part,
Yeah.
except all of a sudden you got this meteor shower,
Mm-hmm.
or these burning meteors, which if anybody knows anything, the reason meteors burn is because they hit atmosphere,
Yeah.
and so these should have just been rocks. Instead they look like cheese puffs. Looks
Maybe
like the
that
ship is being attacked by a cheese, because I'm sitting there all of a sudden hungry for Cheetos while watching the movie.
maybe that was the part I saw.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a good scene of a meteor rolling through the ship while they barely escape it.
That was the part that I saw.
But the meteors outside all look like somebody threw a bunch of cheese puffs at the ship.
Yeah.
But if you remember the music playing over that, it was loud. Let's just say they really made sure that they were that, because they probably paid John Barry a hell of a lot of money for that, so they were making sure they got their money's worth for that music. And it's really good. I mean, I'd rather sit around listening to the soundtrack of Black Hole than have to ever sit through the movie again.
Yeah. I
It's
remember
nice
that.
does feel like about 3 hours in some cases.
Yeah. I remember that I did like the Bobs.
Yeah,
At least
Bob and Vincent.
that was it.
Joy saying that she liked the droids in it, and that Maximilian was one of the most frightening robots she's seen.
Yeah, I always kind of always
But then
went
it's
for
got
the
actors in it.
yeah. I always kind of went for the more
Ruins it.
right. Anyway, back to E.L.O., which is why we're here. For Buildings
Exactly.
Have Eyes, anyway. Paul Shee, or Shy, S-H-I. They really should have had this on the original album and should have released it as a single. Well, they did release it as a single, not in America, and not as the A-side, but technically, it was a single.
MJ Fold says, good episode. Yeah, this is an odd one. A pen friend taped it for me back in the 90s at the end of time to fill up the tape. It's always been okay, and I have never loved it like I did, say, with The Bouncer or Destination Unknown. One blip, you say it was, one blip, you say it was released as a bonus track with the Secret Messages CD. It wasn't. After the Afterglow set, we had to wait 28 years until the Secret Messages double album released for a remastered version.
Oops. Well, there's the correction to the episode. It wasn't on the Secret Messages bonus tracks, bonus special edition, whatever. There's our correction anyway. So that's all the comments we got.
Okay.
Whoops. Yes, save. I'm closing out things that I shouldn't close out now. Anyway, 100,000 listens.
That you shouldn't be opening, so it's time to say
Yeah.
good night, Gracie.
Yeah. 100,000 listens. If we only got $1 for each listen, I'd have $100,000 and pay off my college debt with $30,000 to spare. But there is a way that people can do that. Just Patreon. Yes, Patreon. $1 per episode, and you get to hear them a week before the rest of the world. $2 per episode, and you get the expanded episodes with all kinds of extra goodies. Don Fields reviews, me and Dookie over there. We discuss cover versions and any other things that I can think of to pad out the show that can be at least slightly entertaining. So go do that.
And if you donate $1,000, you get a boudoir photo of moi.
All right.
Nobody's ever
I think we've made.
I just made sure that we're never going to get $1,000.
Yeah, I
probably
think
paid $2,000 though, not for me not to send the
Mhm.
photo. So
yeah. I think we've made people sick, so we should go.
Yes, we should.
Yeah.